She lived life the way she wanted to and made her dreams come true.
Hello, beautiful being. I'm Trini and I'm a spiritual worker, tarot reader, and sound healer. And in this video, I just want to share with you some observations and reflections that I've made in my almost 40 years of life. I'll be 40 in July. I'm excited. But also in working with my clients, this is something that has happened so many times or come up in so many of my readings. And it's something that, in my 15 years of marriage, I've been with my husband for 17 years. We've had our ups and downs, and we are very, very strong, but we didn't just get that way overnight. It took a lot of learning and a lot of dedication to our marriage. And also, I was single at one time. So I do remember what it was like to be attached to someone who is not good for you. And so that's what I want to reflect on right now is just what you can do if you find that you have already identified a relationship as toxic. It's not working for you. It's not to your benefit. It does not serve you in any way. But yet there's still a very strong magnetic pull. Now, typically, this happens when we are in a relationship with someone and it's karmic in nature. So we have known them in a previous lifetime. And when we meet them in this lifetime, it's like there's already so much passion and attraction and drama from previous lifetimes that's already built up. So when we meet them in this lifetime, it's already a handful. It's already a handful. So that just builds up. And this is not a soulmate type of relationship where you are at a point in this lifetime to work together and to learn together and evolve together. With a karmic relationship, you're not in sync. It's like you're not ready. Your souls aren't ready yet. And so when you try to push it and make something happen out of that, the best thing that you can do is learn the lesson from the experiences that you've had and say, you know what? Now I'm going to work on myself. You go do you, and I'm going to go do me. The problem with that is that there are energetic ties that are still there. We can't ignore that, right? So what do you do? What do you do? Now, one of the main things that will happen in a situation like this is you'll notice synchronicities. Okay, so synchronicities are typically those things that are signals from the universe that we are well on our way. We are stepping right in sync, in tune with the universe. So it's like when you see repeating numbers, you see 1111, you see 1234, 1234. You might be thinking of a phrase or saying a phrase, and then you hear that same exact phrase on the TV or in a song. So these are things that a lot of people would label as coincidences, but the longer you go on your spiritual journey, on your path, you realize that nothing is a coincidence. So that's the purpose of a synchronicity under normal circumstances. The universe is letting you know that you are in tune, in sync, synchronicity with the universe, with your soul's purpose. What happens when you notice these coincidences after a breakup? If you're struggling with separating from this person that you have such a strong bond with. And typically what the synchronicities will look like in that case is it'll be like if you have a dream about your ex and then the next day they send you an email or a text, usually something pitiful like, I miss you. Well, you can keep on missing me, bye. But, it's usually something like that. Or you might see their exact same car or meet someone with their exact same initials. Or, you hear y'all's song on the radio and then you have a dream about them that night. Now, that can either be a sign from universe that they're going to contact you. Beware, be on guard. Because a lot of times things like that happen when the person is also thinking of you. So it is a sign from universe. But the problem is that a lot of people think that it's a sign that you're supposed to be together. And that would just be cruel. Universe does not roll like that. Universe is not going to try to bring you closer to someone who has hurt you and who constantly hurts you and gives you heartbreak, okay? So what is going on is Spirit is letting you know there's still a strong energetic bond there, and it needs to be, there are wounds that need to be healed, there's energy that needs to be resolved, and ties that need to be broken, okay? And like I said, sometimes it's a heads up that the person is going to contact you, so be on guard, be ready. Don't give in to no nonsense just because this person is, you know, on a whim, having a whim of missing you, you know? So what do you do when you keep having these situations, or this sometimes even longing? You know, a lot of people don't want to talk about this because you might really want to be with this person and you might really struggle with missing them. Yet they've treated you so terribly. And that is perfectly normal. Like it's something that needs to be addressed. But please know that it is perfectly normal. This is someone who is familiar to you. Humans love familiarity. We love what we know, right? Even if it hurts us, it's like, well, I know it, you know, so I'm gonna stick with that. And so that's a lot of times what we feel drawn to or tempted to stay with, all right? But yeah, that's something that you should not feel ashamed of. If you're struggling with missing someone that was toxic or that was hurtful towards you, that's something that a lot of us have experienced. I experienced that as well. But there are ways to separate yourself from that person. So I recommend taking these steps in this order. Okay, so this is coming from myself as not only someone who has experienced this type of pain, this type of magnetic pull to someone who's not good for you, but also as a spiritual worker, okay? And the first thing that I recommend is doing everything in the physical realm that you can do to distance yourself from this person. Typically, if you're feeling that magnetic pull, they're feeling it too. Whether they're acting on it or not, it usually goes both ways, but usually one person will be more expressive about it than the other. But whether you need to block them, and of course blocking can turn into a game too, but if it helps you to put that person out of your mind, then do that. You know, I recommend no longer reading like emails and text messages and playing things over in your mind. Okay, your mind will set you up. It will always replay the most positive experiences with that person. So just know that, you know, it's like you're likely to remember them in a much better light than they really, really were when you were together. So I recommend no longer going over old emails, old text messages. If they give you gifts, if it's worth some money, get some money for it. But, you know, do away with it. So that's the first thing. I always say align the realms. We do our energetic work, but we also can do our work in the physical as well. Okay? So that's the first thing. Do what you can in the physical realm to distance yourself from them. The second thing is a cut and clear. So a cut and clear work is a hoodoo ritual that involves clearing the space, clearing the energy around you. And this is what's needed in many cases whenever you leave a situation that you were once very tied to, whether it's an old job, an old partner, a friendship that didn't work out, anything like that where the residue sort of still remains, and it's like you just need to free yourself energetically. Now, there are lots of ways to do cut and clear work. You can do a spell jar. I love doing spell jars because this is a type of work that needs to be repeated. You know, when you get a reminder of the person, when those synchronicities start setting in and universe is letting you know that this person is thinking about you or that there's some more healing that needs to be done, you might start getting in your feelings and start feeling some type of way, and you need to get back to that cut and clear. So that's why I love a spell jar. But you can also do just a candle ritual. But what I really love, especially initially, is doing a cut and clear ritual bath. So what you do there is you would run your bath, And as you're running the water, you would put some lemon peel in there. Lemon peel cuts and clears. It clears, it cleanses the energy. Also, you can use Himalayan salt. So pour some Himalayan salt in your bath. Himalayan salt is very beautiful. If you'll notice, it's pink in color. So it's right along the lines of like rose quartz and helping to heal the heart chakra. It's very comforting and soothing, but it also cleanses negative energy and negative ties. So you put your lemon peel in your bath, you put your Himalayan salt in there. You can also use some olive oil. Olive oil is very good for protection, and it's very, very good for your skin too, if you're into beauty as well. And you light your candle. You state your intention. Also, you want to use your cut and clear oil. So this is one that I have by Art of the Root. I don't typically make cut and clear oil, but I highly recommend Art of the Root, and they are on Instagram, so you can see it's really beautiful. They are on Instagram, and I love all of their oils, but you put some of that in your bath water as well, and you state your intention. I am free and clear from all energetic ties that do not serve me. My energetic ties to, and state the person's name, are broken, and I vibrate on a frequency of peace, harmony, and love. And so as you soak in the bath, just think of these things over and over again. Think of yourself, visualize yourself rising higher and higher to the frequency of divine love, and then that person is staying over here. Or you can put them in a little spaceship and have them go on over to the left. You know what I'm saying? So whatever you need to do to visualize yourself being rid of this energy, that's going to help you and make that bath, that cut and clear bath, so much more powerful. Another thing that I recommend is cord cutting. So a lot of people get nervous when you mention cord cutting. I think because it has the word cutting in it and it sounds like surgery. It sounds very final and and people get nervous about it. Unfortunately, there have been videos and blogs made, a couple, about the dangers of cord cutting. And, you know, when anybody starts talking about danger when it comes to spirituality, a red flag goes up for me, because first and foremost, I, as a spiritual worker, cannot tell you what to do and what not to do. I can't tell you what's going to be dangerous for you. I can make recommendations. I can tell you based on my experience what I recommend and what I don't. But I'm not going to tell you that something is dangerous, because it might be right for you, but it's not right for me. It might be right for this client, but it's not right for that client. You see what I'm saying? So there's no need to fear cord cutting. If you prefer to call it cord cleansing, have at it. But you can do a cord cutting through visualization with mental magic. You can do a cord cutting with an actual ceremony. There's so many ways to do it. Obsidian, an obsidian arrowhead, is very effective in cutting cords. But this is something that is done, and you can do it repeated, over a repeated number of times, however many times are necessary, to keep those cords from coming back. Because when you're dealing with a karmic partner, those paths, your energetic paths, are set. They've been set over previous lifetimes. So they're very deep and ingrained. So that energy, if you don't keep up with your cut and clear and your cord cutting, sometimes they will come back. The person might, send you an email on a day where you're not feeling at your best. You're not at your best. And it just makes you feel some type of way. And before you know it, you're sitting at a table with them, having dinner and a glass of champagne. So these things can happen. So it's not something to fear, like, oh God, what if they come back? It's just that if you start to notice that pull, that attraction, you just know, okay, I'm going to take a cut. I'm going to do a cut and clear bath. Or I'm going to do another cord cutting visualization or meditation, okay? But cutting the cords is very, very effective, and I do recommend doing it over a period of time. It's something that can be repeated as needed. Now, if the person that you were involved with is if they present any harm or threat, which does happen because people can get very obsessive and very possessive. You know, they think that they own you and they don't want to see you go. Not engaging in communication with them is extremely useful. But something else that you can do is, number one, align the realms. So if they are truly presenting a threat, you know, contact your local authorities, do what you need to do with a restraining order, you know, handle your business. But from an energetic perspective, return to sender is very good. Anytime someone is sending you negative energy, you can send it right back. You won't have to worry about them bringing you any drama, any negativity, okay? So return to sender is something that I highly recommend. You can do a return to sender spell jar, especially if this person has presented a threat over time, over and over again. Then you would want to do a spell jar and keep that going. Renew that work anytime that you feel that it's necessary. The wonderful thing about return to sender work is that it sends the negative energy back to the person. You're not coming up with anything negative. They send it to you, right? So you send it back to them. It's their job now to transmute that energy and to transform it and to work through it. And I have seen some very amazing transformations happen as a result of return to sender. When you send a person back what they sent you, they're either going to allow it to keep them down, or they're going to rise above it and transmute it. And it's really amazing to see some of the transformations that can happen as a result of return to sender. But that is not your responsibility to take on that negative energy that they have sent you. That's for them to work out, okay? And finally, I'll talk just briefly about banishing. And I don't recommend banishing. I hardly ever banish anything. Things that I banish are like, I had $25,000 worth of debt, okay? $25,000 of debt. I banished it. Now that went right along with healthy, you know, spending habits and improving my finances, but I worked steadily on banishing that debt. So I banish things. I don't banish people. But I know that there are some people out there banishing their exes, so I just want to mention this. First and foremost, if you do a return to sender correctly, you won't have to banish someone, okay? In most situations. There are extreme cases, and I never say never, so you do what's right for you. But I don't banish people, and I've never found that I've needed to do that. What can happen is, you know, the concern is, especially if you have a child with your ex, you think about it, when you banish someone, if you're not specific and you just say, I banish them, then you're not being specific about banishing them from your life or banishing their bad behavior or banishing their habits that have impacted you in a negative way. You're just banishing them. So really, you're sending them negative energy. And if you have a child with your ex and you're sending negative energy to your ex, then that negative energy is then in their bloodline. So you share a child with this person. You see where I'm going? So from my perspective, the very best thing to do if someone is presenting a harmful situation to you or threatening you, handle it from the legal perspective, from the legal aspect. But then also you can return to sender. You can return that negative energy to them. I don't recommend banishing, but if you do banish, just be very specific about what it is that you're banishing. Are you banishing their threats? Are you banishing any threat that they pose to you and to your safety? Are you banishing their harmful words or their evil words that they send your way? So if you decide to banish, just be very specific about what you banish. I don't recommend it, but I always say, hey, you do what you got to do. Your path is your path. So I'm not going to tell you not to do something. I can only give my recommendations based on my experience. I hope that this information has been helpful to you. It can be very challenging, breaking bonds with someone that feel so tied to, but know that it absolutely can be done. And once you get to that point where you know that you are vibrating on a frequency where you are no longer really bogged down and tied to this person, it is the most liberating feeling ever. And so all of the work, all the cut and clearing, all the cord cutting and the meditation and all of that is definitely worth it, I can tell you, because I've been through it. And I am now enjoying a really wonderful marriage to my husband of 15 years. We've been together for 17 years, and we've been through a lot. But I tell you one thing, it's worth every bit of energetic work that I've done to be in a place where I can love freely. And you deserve that too. You deserve to be able to love freely. So I wish you peace, joy, and many blessings. Take care.